Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys, storm clouds are gathering. A storm is coming. The entire world is going bonkers right now. From the escalating tensions in the Middle East, from the continued conflict in Ukraine, from the bubbling tensions between India and Pakistan, to the United Kingdom and the grooming gang scandal. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about all of this, answering your questions. You guys put things in the chat. We'll figure it out together. But guys, listen, the world is not normal right now. It is insane. We literally have people trying to gaslight us. We have world leaders saying, oh, don't worry, there's no war coming, while at the same time, literally the whole of the United, well, probably not literally, but most of the United States naval assets are moving into position. It's all going bonkers, guys. And listen, I've got some information from a trusted source, and this is going to affect the United Kingdom. It was something that I didn't mention because it was a civilian target. Sorry, because I like to only keep in civilian targets. But what I'm seeing right now, guys, is mass civil unrest in the United Kingdom, military falling to its knees, and all sorts of crazy stuff happening. I mean, guys, look, right now, if you live in the United Kingdom, we are not a million miles away from some law being passed where the police just say, right, everybody, it's every man for themselves, defend yourselves. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, we have more migrants in hotels than we do soldiers in barracks by a order of magnitude. So I guess we've started, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on TikTok, or if you're watching this on X, because at some point we are going to get these videos uploaded to X, guys, drop a comment, say something, have your say. Listen, the world is crazy right now, and we're going to be talking about all of that. But first, guys, let me click some buttons on this screen. If you're watching on YouTube as well, guys, can you let me know what the volume's like on YouTube? Some people are saying that the sound quality is not, it's not where it should be on YouTube. So please let me know, guys, okay? This was a problem when I used to stream on YouTube before. I thought we got to the end of that problem. I thought we dealt with that problem, but I don't know. But anyway, guys, whatever the bonkersness is, we are going to come to it. So first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about the gangs in the United Kingdom. What I'm seeing now is absolute cockroachery from our political system. Absolute cockroachery from our political system. So can you guys cast your minds back like a couple of months where if you were concerned about this, then you were jumping on a far right bandwagon. If you are concerned about this now, also from the government's own, from Prevent, which is a government think tank, from their analysis, if you are concerned about mass migration to the United Kingdom, that is a trope of the far right. So look at Parliament now, guys. Look at the government now. Everybody seems to be coming out of the woodwork, and everybody's in support of it. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, these are people who just want your votes. They don't really care. They don't care. I don't believe they care. I don't, guys. Listen, I grew up in Rotherham in the 90s. I witnessed this. I lived through this. And I can say, with everybody, people talk about the young girls that have been, how do I say this? The young girls that have suffered in the United Kingdom. Now, I know somebody, and I'm trying to get him on the show. I'm trying to get him on and do a live stream, sat in those chairs behind me. A young man, he suffered the same as the girls. He suffered the same as the girls, guys, you know. I am trying to get him on the show. I'm trying to get him on the live stream so he can tell people what happened to him as a young man, because, you know, these things didn't just happen to young girls. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be coming on to that. We're going to be talking about the escalating bonkersness in the Middle East. Let me just Google this, guys, because I did come on early. US Navy. I just want to see what US Navy assets are in the Middle East. US sends aircraft carrier from South China Sea to Middle East as the conflict between Israel and Iran escalates. So there we are, guys. Listen, when people say we're wanting, you know, we are pushing for a peaceful negotiation, like, doesn't matter what people say. What people do is the thing that matters. What people do is the thing that matters, guys, okay? So while all the politicians are saying that they want peace, they want a peaceful solution, they're also pushing military assets into that region. Guys, listen, I'm going to reiterate what I said on Friday. The main crux of this conflict is the air-to-air refueling. The Israelis don't have the aircraft to continue this pace for much longer. They really don't. They do not have the capacity to push that on, guys. They do not have that. They do not have that capacity. But you know who do have the capacity? The United States Air Force and the United States Navy. Remember, guys, okay, the biggest air force in the world is the the United States Air Force. The second biggest air force in the world is the US Navy. Guys, look, and it's very difficult to try and contextualize how big the US, the air power that the United States can project is. It's phenomenal. RB Jr., listen, RB Jr. just put a fantastic comment here over on TikTok that is going to get pinned. So RB Jr. is putting the Nimitz, which is a US aircraft carrier, retires next year. Coincidence, a sacrifice. So could that be a false flag, guys? Listen, maybe I should do a video. You know what? I'm going to do a video about that myself. I'm going to do a standalone video on that, guys. That could very well be the case. Yeah. That is what you would do. I know from my time. Hang on, I don't want to drop anyone in this. I know from my time in the military, if you need to do something with the vehicle, you would use an old vehicle, one that was kaput. You wouldn't use one of your new shiny ones. So yeah, maybe that is going to come. I just hope there's not. I just hope we can minimize. If that does happen, I hope we can minimize US casualties. And do you know what, guys? I'm going to say it. I hope we can minimize casualties all over the world, because right now, when we started this channel, guys, I wanted to talk about alien space technology, you know, the conflicts that are happening in the world. But unfortunately, the conflicts that are happening in this world right now have taken precedence. I would much rather a future for our children where we are taking a moon base, where we're doing asteroid mining, where we've got a mission to Mars, because those things right now seem very unlikely. Anyway, let me come to some comments, guys. Let me come to some comments. Good morning, Glenn. Good morning, Inline 4. Sasha Blue. Hello, Sasha Blue. Mandy. Googly. Good morning to you, buddy. Where are we? Oh, guys, thank you for sharing as well. Thank you for sharing. Tina0511. Debbie Doobs. Tracy McGregor. 4 pause. Laurie C is saying good morning. Good morning to all you guys as well. Tanya Marie, it ain't just about migrants though. Wars everywhere. Cost of living. Yes, you're right, Tanya. We're going to be talking about all of that. Junior, RB Junior, good morning. Daniel Payne, I had a convo with a woman yesterday of colour, worked for the government, who voted Green. She asked me... Hang on, she asked me and I said reform. She called me a racist. So now you're a racist, guys. If you vote for reform, you are a racist. So there you go, guys. Look, the divisional lines are us and them, and this is what's happening. Look, ladies and gentlemen, right? I get a lot of flack for saying this. The problems that we have are not color problems. It doesn't matter about the color of your skin. It is the culture that you identify with. You know, that is the problem here, guys. And this is the problem. And unfortunately, with these divisional lines that have been sown in the United Kingdom right now, it's kind of like these things are being, these divisional lines are being spread where they shouldn't. The one divisional line, there should only be one divisional line in any country, and that should be, do you support, are you willing to assimilate into that country's culture or not? That is the only divisional line, guys. Whether that's the UK, Africa, America, Saudi Arabia, wherever, guys, all right? That is the only divisional line. Because if we say diversity is our strength, then muggling everyone up isn't really diversity at all. It's just mix-match tax-paying, universal basic income spenders. Right, Jody Lee, morning. Hope I didn't miss much. No, we have literally just got on, guys. We have literally just got on. Tina, politicians lie. This is the problem. Can't trust any of them. Yes, this is it. You know, they lie, they lie, they lie. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, right now, I think people are starting to see through those lies and understand they are all just trying to swizzle us. Debbie 1973 is going to say good morning, everyone. Yeah, we've done the minutes. Debbie D Marie Gen X, hi. I hope you guys are well. Yes, we are. Right, can you explain the Nimitz coincidence, saying Tracy McGregor? Right, guys, I'm going to come on to this USS. Is it called USS Nimitz? Yeah, the USS Nimitz, which is an aircraft carrier. I'm going to talk onto that. Britain would solo Iran on production. What does that mean, Googly? I don't know what that means, but Googly is saying Britain would solo Iran on production. I don't know what that means. Right, Tyler Evans saying it's also because a lot of people want Sharia law in the UK. Like, you know, it's fascinating to me how people flee countries with Sharia law because they don't like it, and then they want to impose it in this country. It's fantastic, but, you know, it is what it is. Military production capacities. Right, okay, military production capacities. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, one of the comments on the chat on TikTok was the RAF, not the RAF, the USS Nimitz, which is an aircraft carrier, has been deployed to the Middle East. Now, the USS Nimitz is due to be retired next year, and the question is, could the USS Nimitz be a false flag? Could it be another, you know, what's the Pacific Ocean? The, what was it? Totally forgot when the Japanese, Pearl Harbor. Could the USS Nimitz be a potential Pearl Harbor whereby the USS Nimitz is used as a ship that's going to get sunk and that's going to drag the Americans into this conflict? I don't know, guys. You know, I don't have a crystal ball. I say it's certainly a possibility. I'm going to do a video later on that. I'll do a standalone video on that. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I've had some credible intelligence from one of you guys, actually. I had some credible intelligence from one of you guys. And they said that bases all over the United Kingdom right now are reinforcing themselves. I'm going to speak to some of my contacts who are still serving about this. But can you imagine this scenario, ladies and gentlemen, right now? Right now, imagine this scenario. 100 people turn up, protesters, at a side gate to a military camp. They cut through the camp, they run on, and they're on the airfield. With sledgehammers, then they start smashing up an F-35 or a Typhoon. There's nothing you can do. Literally, what can anyone do? Like, in that scenario, guys, how long will it take for the security to get there? How long will it take for, and can you imagine, like, if one of the armed guards went over and discharged his tool? Can you imagine that? You know, looking at Chris Carver when the police was, the police was absolutely in his rights to do what he did. Can you imagine the scenario whereby you have now a bunch of people around a multi-million-pound aircraft and they're just smashing it up with hammers? There's no rules of engagement there to open fire, ladies and gentlemen. There's no threat to life. There's no threat to anyone. All you have is people smashing up an airplane. So what? So what? So what? The police would have to come. The police would have to apprehend them. Then they'd have to go through the courts. And you see where we're going now, guys. Can you imagine the optics of that? Can you imagine the optics of that, guys, if we start to see military bases targeted? Because don't forget, guys, okay, military bases, they do have armed guards, yes. But those rules of engagement are very stringent. They're very strict. They are in the context that, you can only discharge your weapon if there is an actual threat to life. People with sledgehammers hitting an aircraft is not a threat to life. People with sledgehammers hitting drones is not a threat to life. But you know what it is? It is ridiculous optics, guys. It's ridiculous optics, and it is just more of this movement, guys. Okay, so I would speculate that if I was a bad guy, and I'm not, but if I was a bad guy, I would now be looking at as well as utilities. I would be looking at as well as utilities. I would be looking at these military bases, guys. Okay, because certainly from the military bases I've been on, if you know how to get into these and you want to cut through this fence, you've got access to those military bases. You have, and you know what? I'm going to speculate that we are going to see that at some point. RB Junior is saying R Romeo November Alpha Sierra. I don't know what that stands for. Kuldros in Colward. I'm assuming that's a Navy, Royal Navy. I don't know. In Kuldros has just had a new perimeter fence put up. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I can go and hire. In fact, I can go on eBay right now and buy a still saw for like 200 quid, and I'm pretty much guaranteeing that still saw will be able to get through any fence. So as a near peer adversary with all the resources and financing options available to a near peer adversary, like, do we think they've got 200 quid to spend on a still saw? I would speculate yes. Right, so some comments on YouTube here, guys. Saqib Khan is saying, Sean, they are feeding US soldiers steak and lobster, a sign they will be going to war. Let me just check this, because as I understand it, every Friday night on the US bases is steak and lobster night, and you get free energy drinks as well. Right, I'm not seeing any of that on the news, but I guess that's not big enough to make the news. I know when I used to be stationed on US bases, I think it was every Friday. Every Friday they used to have steak and lobster night. I'm not a fan of lobster, but I used to have a lot of lobster. I'm not a lobster fan, but I used to have a lot of steak. UK Prepper is saying morning, and good morning to you, UK Prepper, buddy. UK Prepper, with a name like UK Prepper, are you ready for the civil unrest that's coming to the United Kingdom? And if so, can you let me know what precautions you've taken, and we'll share it with the chat. Do you feel that food, water, energy are all in, are all vulnerable? Do you feel that military bases could be struck? These are the things that I'm seeing right now. We have got early report of multiple oil tankers on fire in the Strait of Hormuz. Wow, fantastic. Right, guys, listen, we may have to change here, guys. Okay, we may have to change here. Let me check this out. If this is true, guys. If this is true. Wow. 57 minutes ago, guys. 57 minutes ago. Right. We have got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news. Right. Okay. Right. This is from crude oil. All right, guys. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, guys, this is why we come on the live stream. This is why we do things live, because things happen in real time. Breaking news. Thank you so much for that on YouTube. 3 tankers are reportedly on fire in the Gulf of Oman, with conflicting reports about the cause, including a possible collision. The incident occurs amid heightened tensions in the region, particularly between Israel and Iran, which has threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. Guys, look, I'm reading this in real time, ladies and gentlemen, but it does look like there are several ships on fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical choke point. Yeah, we know that. 3 tankers are reportedly on fire in the Gulf of Oman. So that's like just on the east before you actually get through the into the Persian Sea. A British maritime security provider had reported it was aware of an unspecified incident in the area. An outlet for shipping news published on YouTube saying 2 oil tankers had collided. So here we've got, I don't know what this is, guys. It could be, first of all, right now in that region, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not putting this down to coincidence. I'm not putting this down to coincidence one little bit. Right, let me see if there's anything else. So that is from oil, I don't know, that's from the oil network or something. Let me see if there's anything else on this, guys. right, that's not what, right, why is my screen's not refreshing? Right, my screen's, guys, listen, you can see the storm clouds gathering. The storm is coming. It does look like it's here now. Let me just do another search for this because that window's broken. In fact, my internet's gone. I've got no intelligence. Guys, am I still streaming? Can you let me know if I'm still streaming, because my internet has totally gone swizzling. Right, okay, good. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, okay, the breaking news right now, and I know this doesn't sound like much, but this is a massive development. This is an absolutely huge development. It looks like right now there are ships on fire in the Strait of Hormuz. This is absolutely insane. If the Strait of Hormuz closes, guys, up to 20% of the world's oil transits through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, all the Iranians have to do is say, they don't even have to attack a ship. All they have to do is say, if you travel through the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to sink you. Because what's going to happen then is those ships that transit through, oh, wow, do you know what is going to happen? This is going to absolutely give Russia the green light. Wow, this is going to give Russia the green light. So, guys, listen, if they close the Strait of Hormuz, what will happen is the Russians, if you guys can remember, the Russians operate a dark fleet of ships, oil tankers. Now, this dark fleet of oil tankers, they don't comply with international shipping standards. They don't have insurance. They're literally just used to move oil around. At some point, one of them's going to sink. Now, if the Iranians close the Strait of Hormuz, I would speculate massively that the Russians would move in and the Russians would say, well, do you know what? I know you guys can't get insurance for your ships. Well, that's unlucky. We're just going to come and take all that oil anyway. So this is only going to empower the Russians more, guys. It's only going to empower the Russians more. But, guys, listen, breaking news from a couple of minutes ago. Fires seen near the entrance to the Strait of Hormuz puts ships on alert. So we're hearing different reports here, guys. We're hearing it's 2 ships. We're hearing it's 3 ships. We're hearing ships have collided. We don't know what's happening right now. The situation's dynamic, but it does look like, I can say for all with certainty, that there are ships on fire now in the Strait of Hormuz. I'm not calling this. I'm not saying that this is a coincidence. I don't believe it's a coincidence in any circumstance, guys. Listen, I think this is, oh, hang on. John Giles over on YouTube is saying, keep calm and drink tea. UK Prepper is saying, you are, but I have lost YouTube vids on my other laptop. Very odd. Keep getting an error message. So UK Prepper, I don't know you are, but I have lost YouTube vids on my other laptop. Very odd. Keep getting error messages. I don't know how. I listen. I'm new to all this myself. Right, let me jump up and get the comments over here on TikTok. Right, ladies and gentlemen, remember the breaking news that's just happened, that's just come in the last couple of minutes is right now. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the things I warned of. I told you all guys all about the Strait of Hormuz, how critical it is. It does look like now there are several ships on fire in the Strait of Hormuz. That's what Bloomberg, Reuters, August, lots of media outlets reporting this now, guys, so I can talk about it. Okay, up to 3 tankers reportedly on fire. The Gulf of Oman, ships near the Strait of Hormuz on fire. Fire seen at the entrance of the Strait of Hormuz, put ships on alert. So it does. Oh, explosions reported on 2 tankers. Oh no, sorry. That was from that's from a while ago. That's from 2019. Sorry, take that one back. So we do have fires now, guys, in the Strait of Hormuz. It looks like. Right, let me jump up and get these comments. So Tyler Evans saying they've appointed a new chief of MI6. Do you have any thoughts? Will it affect anything? The numbers of MI6 now, guys, we're moving into this new phase of dynamics, this new storm that's coming. They don't have the numbers. So remember, MI6, or there isn't actually a branch called MI6. It's Secret Intelligence Service. But everybody calls it MI6. So the new chief of MI6, it's a lady. Her name eludes me. I don't think it's going to change anything realistically. The numbers, what they need to do is they need to pump those numbers up because they just don't have the manpower, guys. You know, they don't have the manpower. I can remember when I worked for. I can remember when I worked for the embassy, the British embassy in Baghdad, and the movie. What was it? What's the best Bond movie? Skyfall. Skyfall had just come out, and it came on the. It came out that we had to go and pick up some MI6 guys from the airport. So we went out to pick these MI6 guys up. So we're all thinking it's going to be like, you know, a load of Daniel Craigs in three-piece suits, and you know they're all going to be sophisticated with like, you know, aviators on. Honestly, my impression of these guys were they were nerds. They were overweight. They didn't look like they could do anything, but they were MI6, and I wasn't particularly impressed with them guys. You know, so these images of people like Daniel Craig cruising around doing all sorts of cool stuff with his 9. You know, I just don't think that's a reality. I think you've got expectation versus reality. Tyler Evans is saying, do you think sooner or later we will start hearing about Ukraine again? A bit quiet lately. Yeah, it is a bit, well, the media is a bit quiet, but Kiev had a massive attack last night. There was a massive drone and, oh, hang on. There was a massive drone and missile attack on Ukraine last night. So it's still like the direction of travel in Ukraine hasn't changed. The tempo's not let off. It's just that media are not reporting on it because everybody's reporting on what's happening in the Middle East. So yes, I do think, and I said this on Friday, guys, okay, with the aircraft that the Israelis have, they're going to really have to slow down their tempo pretty soon because they don't have that capacity to keep going at the pace they're going right now, guys, okay? Linda Lou says, wasn't the Suez Canal closed years and years ago due to war? I know it's not the same place. Well, you know, the Suez Canal is controlled right now, unfortunately, by the Houthis. Now, I know it's not controlled by the Houthis, but the Houthis are literally controlling the entrance to the Red Sea, which by de facto means the Houthis are controlling who can get access to the Suez Canal. Right, let me just get this, guys, because this is really important, this the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, hang on. Breaking news from 48 minutes ago. This is from Israel, Iran. Trump claims he is working on something. Hang on. Trump claims he is working on something bigger than a ceasefire after Tehran evacuation warning. Trump says Macron wrongly claimed he left G7 summit early to broker a Middle East ceasefire. So he's not gone to broker a ceasefire. Donald Trump early departure from the G7 has nothing to do with working on an Israel-Iran ceasefire, but something much bigger than that. Do you know what I think that is? I think he's working on, and this is my opinion, guys, I think Trump left early because he's working on the war plan. Can you imagine now, guys, if the USS Nimitz does take a strike, if the US Nimitz does sink and you see all these signs of US sailors and stuff in the water screaming, can you imagine how crackers and bonkers those Americans are going to go? But something much bigger than that. The US president said, refuting comments by French President Emmanuel Macron. Right, guys, listen, I'm just going to give you guys some of the tropes of this channel. US-led invasion, Iran, March 2026. That's what I've said all along. I even said it would be President Trump who led this, even before President Trump was elected. Right now, it does look like that is certainly on the cards. And I know a lot of people will be saying, oh, Sean, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's insane. That's not going to happen. But remember, last Wednesday, I told you guys, I said, listen, guys, there's going to be a huge global, guys, look. Go and check my video. Like, if you're on TikTok, go and scroll down. In fact, I might download it and put it on YouTube. Literally, guys, I think it was last Wednesday. What I said to you guys was there's going to be a global event this Friday. What happened? The biggest global event that I think this is the biggest thing that's happened, guys, since the invasion, or since the 2022 invasion, of Ukraine. Nobody can underestimate, nobody can understate what is actually happening now in the Middle East. Neither of these sides are going to back down, guys. Neither of these sides are going to back down. Because they can't back down. If the Iranians back down, they know they've lost, and they know that there's going to be more and more repercussions. If the Israelis back down, then the Iranians are just going to continue their nuclear program, and they're going to facilitate, and at some point they will have a nuclear bomb, and then the next time they're just going to crack that off. Now, you understand this, guys, don't you? How they know, now they've started this, they have to see it through. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if there was a law passed on the 1st of November 2023 in the United States that said the United States would take all action necessary to prevent Iran gaining a nuclear weapon, and 2, would support freedom of action of any allies who wanted to prevent Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Maybe if there was a law like that passed in 2023 on the 1st of November, maybe right now everything would make sense, because I would say that all this sort of stuff is connected, guys, and at some point the United Kingdom will have, oh, hang on. Right, Paul Sullivan over on YouTube is saying they will unleash the sleepers. Yeah, I think they. Yeah, you know what? I think that is. I think that's a possibility as well. The politicians in the. Oh, hang on, I've got an update from Ukraine. Yeah, right, guys. You know what I said? Okay, guys, listen. If you follow this channel, I don't regurgitate what other people tell you. I don't regurgitate what other people tell you. Like, everybody at the moment on social media, they've all got these big flashy screens behind them, and they're all trying to they're regurgitating what the mainstream's saying. Can you guys remember, like a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a couple of months ago, what I said was, in fact, I did it when I was talking about the Israel-Iran conflict, when we were talking about the Shaheeds. What I said is the tactics are going to change with these drones, because at the moment, guys, please put it in the comments if you can remember me saying this. I know all these videos are uploaded, but I'd have to go through YouTube and find them. With the drones, they've been flying the drones relatively low because you've got more oxygen, you've got more air, the fuel, the engines get more air into them, so they don't burn as much. But the problem with that is they're very susceptible to small arms on the ground. And because of the speed of the Shaheed drones, they're taking some down. Now, remember what I said, guys. I said at some point, the Russians are going to start, they're going to put a new engine in them, and they're going to start flying them higher. Well, turns out that's happened. I'm just going to read you a message from my friend in Ukraine. Right, he sent me a link to CNN. People are saying the Ukrainian air defenses was completely useless. Shaheeds were flying at a high altitude. There you go, guys. There you go. Literally, what I'm telling people is coming at, it happens. And I'm sick, I really do get sick of trying to tell people what's happening. And you get these half-baked politicians who have no idea. They have no idea of what's coming. They have no idea because their advisors not told them. But I know that there are good guys behind the scenes, and they are telling these politicians what's coming, but they just don't listen. They just do not listen. So anyway, guys, listen, I'll tell you what's coming next. I'm going to tell you what is coming next. So at the moment they're using an internal combustion engine. So they've got a propeller. The next thing the Russians will do is they will upgrade that engine. They'll put a jet engine in those Shaheed drones. Once they put a jet engine in those Shahed drones, that means it can fly faster and higher. Once that happens, the next tactic will be, rather than coming in, flying high, and then coming in a slow approach, what they're going to do is they're just going to come high. They're just going to come real high. They're going to go straight down like that as a top attack. And there is absolutely nothing that anyone can do when that happens, guys. It is pretty much game over. There would be no, there really is no defense for that. And it winds me up something rotten, guys. It winds me up something rotten because I'm telling people what's coming, but they just don't listen. But anyway, I give it you for free. You guys get this for free. Right, let me jump down. Right, Daniel Payne saying a great reset would be good, don't you think? I don't know, Daniel. I mean, Daniel Payne saying a great reset would be good, don't you think? I get a great reset, and I get we need new systems of governance. We need a new financial system, but who would be in control? And that, to me, could sound like ushering in the new world order. Get the high streets back and running. Get us away from technology. Tyler Evans, like the water version of SAS. I don't know what that means. K-Ring says, I remember you saying it. Yeah, guys, look, that's where this drone warfare is going, all right? And, whoever develops this technology quicker will be on the front foot. Remember, they're going to go after infrastructure. They're going to go after static targets. They're going to go for electricity. They're going to go for gas. They're going to go for water. And that will all happen. And this will all happen when the summer's coming to an end, but around about fall time or autumn if you're in the United Kingdom, because when we move into the colder months in Ukraine, that's when you want to start. When the Russians will start. Historically, when they've started striking the utilities. Daniel Payne saying India evacuates students from Tehran. Linda Lou, bit like the doodle bug in World War II. Yeah, it's like, so these Shahed drones are like a doodle bug, but a lot smaller, and they pack a bigger punch. The doodle bug was a rocket, and they couldn't really aim that rocket. With the advances in drone technology, now they can aim these and put these things wherever they want. Oh, he was replying to a comment about the SBS. Yeah, so if anybody wants to know the difference between the SAS guys and the SBS, the SAS are the A team and the SBS are the B team. They're like the Diet Coke of special forces. They pretend they're special forces, but like in my experience, they're a bit they're the B team basically. You've got the A team and the B team. Right, let me come on to couple of comments on YouTube. Right, from JS Adventures, why you reckon Trump left early from the G7? He said in a comment from Macron saying it's a lot worse than making a deal with Iran. Think they're going to join Israel. Yeah, so, I think that's an inevitability, guys. Remember, all these things, all this information is readily available to you, your friends, your family, your mum, your dad, your gran, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your cat, and your dog. It's all available to you guys. You just need to know where to look. Again, guys, look, go and check House Resolution 559 in the United States. This was all passed in law in 2023. What we're seeing now is the ramifications of that law. Daniel Payne, Trump talking, saying Iran should have taken the deal. He's pretty much saying, I'm going to BOMB you. Right, let me get these comments on. Did I pin that? Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to swizzle off screen a second and caffeinate myself. I'm just going to go off there and caffeinate myself. If I do it on TikTok, every time I do it on TikTok, I get a notification coming through and a restriction on the live. So guys, can you please just bear with me for like less than 30 seconds while I jump off screen, caffeinate myself, and then come back? I'll literally be 2 seconds. And if you've not done so, ladies and gentlemen, can you hit the like, the follow, the subscribe button, whatever platform you're watching on, guys? Again, I know I keep saying this, but I have to give Elon Musk £11 a month to be able to stream on, what's the other platform? On X. But anyway, guys, give me a second. I'm going to caffeinate myself and I'll be straight back. And I am back. I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Tracy McGregor is saying, that's crazy. You can't drink on live TV. Yeah, I don't know what it is, guys. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether I'm drinking black coffee and they think it might be like alcohol or something. But if I drink a coffee, literally every time I've drank a coffee on the TikTok, it says restriction, live restriction. So we've got a bit of a troll here on YouTube saying, her name, I think I don't know, some QBZ. I don't know what they're talking about, but they've just said, but neither do you. All your predictions you've made have not come true. Look, Q, literally go and watch the video I did on Wednesday when I said, get ready for Friday the 13th because there's going to be a global event. Just like, go and do that and then I'll unblock you. But you're getting, you know, are you getting blocked? Yeah, you know what? You're just getting put in a timeout. You're getting put in a timeout. Right, Paul Sullivan is saying, I wonder what Iran found out when they hacked Israel. Yeah, do you know what? That does seem like it's relevant, doesn't it? Remember a couple of days, and again, this was one of the markers. You know, there were so many markers, guys, before Friday the 13th. That's why I did the video on the Wednesday before. There was the International Atomic Energy Association saying that Iran had negated on their commitments. There was the hacking. There was the movement of U.S. troops and infrastructure into that region. Remember, the U.S. military have put a load of stealth, the B-2 stealth bombers, the big one. They've put a load of those B-2 bombers on in Diego Garcia, which is within striking range of Iran. Right, let me jump up here and get these comments. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, you guys. There's a lot of people following. Thank you so much for following. Right, let me jump back up on here, guys, because there is absolutely loads of stuff happening. As we are live, we are literally living through history together. Right, I'm going to go on to this here, guys, about Donald Trump leaving. I think they're gearing up, guys. Listen. I said March 2026 because that is the window of opportunity. The reason I said March 2026 for U.S. boots on the ground on Iran is because that is the window of opportunity. That is when the weather is best, when the sea conditions are best. If you need boots on the ground in Iran, you can only go on that south coast, guys. That's the way it has to be an amphibious assault. There's no other way around it, guys. There's no other way around it. But what I'm looking at now, I'll just read you. Trump says G7 exit, nothing to do with a ceasefire. 8 minutes ago, Iran claims hit on Mossad center. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it has hit Israel's military intelligence center and Mossad operational center. Massive explosions were reported in the center in the central Israeli city this morning, with pictures from the scene showing large columns of smoke rising from a building. Our team was not allowed close to the site as the authorities said it belongs to the military without clarifying further. So remember what we said yesterday, guys, about the media and how the media in these countries, in these conflict zones, are really controlled by the military. Guys, if you was on last night, can you remember how I gave the example of if you're media and you're operating in Ukraine, for example, you will be with a Ukrainian military press attaché. And although all the news anchors look like they're in a different place because like Sky News might be facing this way and they've got like this scenery behind them, and then BBC News is like couple of meters away, but facing another direction, and they've got another backdrop. So it looks like they're in a different location. And then you've got like CNN, and they're facing a different location. They might have a building behind them, but they're all in close proximity, guys. Okay, they're all in close proximity. So in that context, you do get these military press attaches, and they are. Oh, hang on. Right, so I've just got a message then, guys. Off. Right, okay. I'm just gonna. I can't tell you who it's from. I can't tell you who it's from. I'm gonna speak to him afterwards, and then I'll update you guys. Right, but you do get these military press attaches, so the media is heavily controlled by the military. Debbie Doobs is saying, does modern warfare need boots on the ground? Yes. The Navy and the Air Force can take ground, but the Army are the only ones who can a potential conflict in Iran or Iran. Then you would need boots on the ground to go in to make sure those nuclear facilities have been neutralized. Now, I would speculate. I've speculated this all along, guys. I've got no inside information on this, but I would say that the real goodies that the Iranians have are deep under mountains. So you can imagine a mountain. So you've got a big mountain. Rather than dig a bunker in a flat open space, why not dig it underneath a mountain? And then to get to that bunker, you'd have to remove the mountain first. So you understand how the Iranians will have done this. And remember, guys, look, when you're talking about a state-sponsored project, no cost is too high. There's no amount of digging machinery, manpower. The money doesn't matter when it's a state-sponsored project. So Mr. Tyler Evans says, Trump said he's looking at something better than a ceasefire. I'm sure he said bigger. I'm sure he said bigger than bigger. I'm sure he said bigger. Bigger. Yeah, he said it's much bigger. So Donald Trump actually said it's much bigger than a ceasefire. So what I'm going to speculate is what he means is bigger than a ceasefire. Let's look what's happening, guys. The US Navy assets moving into that location. Remember, all this time I've been saying this is coming. If you're going to take Iran, it has to be an amphibious assault, ladies and gentlemen. It has to be. There's lots and lots and lots of US Navy now moving into those locations. So I would think that something bigger than a ceasefire means US military getting involved. They are moving assets into location. Corey Reefin is saying, hi, mate. Hope you're good. Didn't know you was live. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to get live every morning at 8 o'clock. Every morning at 10 o'clock, every evening at 8 o'clock. I'm going to try and do that as much as I can, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to be able to get on live tomorrow morning. Because I've got a task I need to do. Right, let me get the comments on. I've got some comments on YouTube. Right. I've done that one. Lots of people talking about, yeah. So if guys, listen, if you're trying to consider what these drones are like, they're like slow, long-range cruise missiles. So JSA Adventures is saying, what if they just took out the regime's leadership and funded a rebel army instead, like Syria? I don't think you could trust the rebel army to go and take control of these. I don't think you could trust a rebel army to go and take control of these nuclear bases. Also, in Syria, the whole of so in Syria, it was split up into three main areas. The West, the United States military moved, and the British military moved into the northeast Syria. There's a northeast corridor in Syria from and if you want to look at this on a map, it's probably from. There's a river that comes down from Turkey. I'm not sure what it's called. It's not the Euphrates or the. So if you find a place in Syria, in northern Syria, right near the Turkish border called Kobani, and then if you travel east, you've got places like Amuda, Nuzia Bin, Ain Isa, all that corridor is the oil-rich producing area. So that's where the US military went into and secured that area. Now, Iran is a huge oil and gas producing country. I would speculate because of this, US military want to move in this, and they want to secure that oil and gas. And in that context, it would make no sense in funding a rebel army, although a rebel army would have some use initially. Also, I can't believe they took the Nimitz away from the South China Sea in Taiwan. So listen, guys, lots of people are talking about the USS Nimitz. Remember, the USS Nimitz is an older aircraft carrier. A lot of you guys, and I would agree with you guys, are saying that this could be a false flag. I am going to do a video on this later on today, guys. I'm going to do a standalone video on TikTok, but all these videos are getting uploaded now. All these videos get uploaded to YouTube. And we are double streaming, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have to pay Elon Musk £11 a month so I can stream on X as well. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do that, guys. I don't know if it's worth £11 a month to stream. I might do it for a month and just see how it goes. Right, quite a few comments on. I'm just going to jump on these comments on YouTube, TikTok. Tyler Evans is saying, I got that from the BBC headlines. Sorry. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So the guys, listen. So Donald Trump left. So Donald Trump's left the G7. I don't know, little party that they're having. They're probably having like little sandwiches, and guys, I know I've been to these places. All right. In the nighttime, they'll have like a social coordinator, and the social coordinator at nighttime, they'll have their last briefing at about 7 o'clock. That last briefing, there'll be a buffet afterwards. I can guarantee you there'll be a load of silver Bay Maries with the lids open, and there'll be those little sandwiches on little bits of toast, and they'll have like salmon curled on them. That's what I always used to go for, guys. I always, like, my old boss, she always used to say to me, she was American, listen, and if she's watching, I love you. You're the best boss I've ever had. She used to, when I used to go to these meetings, I used to feel very out of place initially. It's on the cocktail circuit. I still get the emails through now. I used to go to these places, and when I used to first start going to them, I'd feel really out of place. But after a while, you start to get used to them and you start to enjoy them. I used to go straight over to the salmon. I just used to gorge myself on the salmon. I would blast those salmon little canapes. And you know the sandwiches, there's just like a little piece of toast, and then there's like a piece of like salmon like that on it, and some sauce and some herbs on top of it. I just stand there. The guy would walk past me with the champagne on the little tray. I'd go, can do one, you can do two. And then I'd take two more. That was pretty much my life, guys, on these cocktail circuits. But anyway, so that's what they'll be doing in the G7. So Donald Trump left early from the G7. Now, I may be getting the particulars a little bit skewed with this, but the President Macron, I think, said, are you going to sort out a ceasefire? And Donald Trump says, no, I'm not going to sort a ceasefire. I'm working on something bigger than a ceasefire. And that to me is signaling he's going to have some sort of, he wants to have some sort of greater military input. Matt Barr over on YouTube is saying 28 KC-135s are flying east from the US. So the KC-135 is one of the air-to-air refueling aircraft, guys, okay? And 28 of them, trust me, that's enough to service a huge aerial bombardment. Remember, guys, okay, there needs to be boots on the ground to confirm these nuclear facilities are out of commission. Right. Right, I'm just looking down the comments now, guys, on TikTok. Trump saying on Al Jazeera that the gloves will be off if any attacks on American interests, says Tracy McGregor. We will come down hard if they do anything to our people. Look, see this comment here from Donald Trump, guys. I'm just pinning this on TikTok. We'll come down so hard if they do anything to our people. A lot of you guys have rightly commented that sending the USS Nimitz into that region could be the fuel for a potential false flag, whereby the USS Nimitz is hit, it sank. Remember, that was going to be decommissioned next year. It's an older aircraft carrier. So if that was going to get decommissioned anyway, why not sink that and and have that as a use case for more military involvement in the Middle East? Coral Reefing, yes, but doesn't Trump have to look like he wants a ceasefire? Yes, of course. So Coral Reefing here is saying, but doesn't Trump have to look like he wants a ceasefire, or at least try? Yeah. Remember, guys, okay, don't look at what people are saying. Look at what these politicians are doing. Right now, US naval assets, US Air Force assets moving into the Middle East. So while everybody's talking about a ceasefire, they're moving their guns into place. Hang on. Right, Gene Prothero is saying, "What have I missed? We've been talking about lots of stuff." Listen, guys, I think that one of the main stories that not many people are talking about right now is the breaking news that there are actual ships right now on fire in the Strait of Hormuz. That has been reported now by several mainstream media outlets, and it does look like there are ships on fire in the Strait of Hormuz, and that's happening right now, guys. Initial reports are that there's been a crash. I don't know about you guys. I just don't see the credibility that is a crash. Maybe it is a crash. I don't know, but I think it's a little bit suspicious that of all places is where there's been a crash and ships are on fire. Witchy Lab is saying morning right back to you, Witchy Lab. EG News is saying morning, Sean, right back to you. K Ring is saying hors d'oeuvres. I don't know what that means, hors d'oeuvres, but I'm all up for some hors d'oeuvres, right? Okay, I think he's talking about the salmon I used to eat. He's also said he wants a real end, not a ceasefire, right? Okay, so listen, guys. So what do I say? What do I always say? Ladies and gentlemen. War ends with a winner and a loser, all right? So from Donald Trump's language here, he wants a real end, not a ceasefire. A real end would be where rather than these two countries keep tippy-toeing each other every couple of months, they're firing things over. A real end would be, right, you guys have won, you guys have lost, it's over, let's sort it out. That would be a real end, in my opinion. All right, so Debbie Doobs is saying hors d'oeuvres is posh for finger buffet. Right, okay, so yeah. So the finger buffet that we used to have that I used to have when I was on the cocktail circuit, many moons ago, ladies and gentlemen, many moons ago. Right, I'm just jumping on these comments. Right, guys, I am going to talk now. I am going to switch now, guys, because it is something that is affecting us in the United Kingdom right now. It is something that we can that we're seeing right now. Politicians in the United Kingdom are all coming out now all politicians now are starting to come out in favor of these talking about these grooming gangs. Let's just consider this for a couple of seconds, guys, okay? Like a couple of months ago, Keir Starmer was saying that anyone jumping on the grooming gang scandal is jumping on a far-right bandwagon. That's what Keir Starmer said. Like, in fact, can you remember when before Keir Starmer was elected, and I said that, I mean, I've called him a lot of things, but one of the things I said about Keir Starmer is he's a chameleon. He will say or do whatever whatever he needs to do in that moment to appeal to that crowd that he's speaking to, And I've said he's a chameleon. He changes, he changes his color, he changes his spots. We're literally seeing this now because, and the problem with a chameleon, a metaphorical chameleon, you don't, so when you try and appease everyone, you appease no one. When you try and appease everyone, you appease no one. Because if he tries to appease the people on the left, the right criticize him. When he tries to appease the people on the right, the people on the left criticize him. And when you do this enough times, everybody just thinks, well, hang on a minute, you're not with us, you're not with them. Who are you really working for, Keir Starmer? Now, I've gone down this rabbit hole with you guys before. And it is, if you follow this back to who actually funds Keir Starmer, guys, listen, it's absolutely insane. Right, a little bit of news from 10 minutes ago, guys, with the Iran has launched 30 missiles today with some causing impact. The IDF has shared an update from operations overnight and into this morning. It said Iran's wartime chief of staff, we will relentlessly pursue our enemies through advanced intelligence capabilities, exploiting emerging opportunities and air superiority and complex operational planning. Well, that doesn't sound good if you're an Iranian, does it? This echoes the Middle East correspondent said earlier when he reported that it's likely Israel will try to replicate its attacks on the Lebanese military Hezbollah last year, which decimated their leadership. These conflicts, the distance that they have to travel, ladies and gentlemen, the distance traveled here is the main limiting factor for both sides. Neither side have the strike projection capacity, or is it strike force project? So you get strike projection capacity, which would be sending in a load of guys in helicopters to do a hostage rescue, neutralize the bad guys, get the hostages, get back on the helicopters and come back. That would be strike projection. Force projection would be sending tanks, logistics, life support, all that sort of stuff to another country, forming a beachhead and continuing a ground operation. Israel and Iran, neither of those countries have force projection capacity. So Kubiz, I'm sure I just blocked Kubiz, but he's back on and he's being polite, so whatever. So Kubiz is saying it was confirmed a collision. So look, I know, so there, guys, listen, so I'm just talking about some breaking news here. There is reports of between 2 and 3 vessels on fire. I think in the Strait of Hormuz, but it's unclear where exactly they are. It has been on mainstream media that this is a collision, but right now, guys, with the world as it is, I'm suspicious whether this is an actual collision or whether this is something more nefarious. So that's just where I'm going to leave it. Right, okay. Right, Kubiz is saying I'm reporting for, do you know what, Kubiz, I love you, Kubiz. You're probably in your mum's basement. And she's not giving you her pocket money for the month, so you're getting banned. Kubiz, I tried to be nice by putting him or her in a timeout, but he came or she came back on. She's been rude, she's been nasty, so now he or she is blocked. If you're going to troll me, ladies and gentlemen, at least say things that are relevant. Like, if somebody comes up and says, Sean, your predictions never come true. Well, literally on Wednesday, I said, get ready for Friday. And then this has all happened on Friday. Like, you can't say that. Anyway, YouTube user on YouTube is saying, hi, everyone. This bomb America plans to use on Iran facility was tested first time. Right, okay. Listen, Paul Sullivan here over on YouTube is saying something that America plans to use on Iran facilities was only tested one time in 2010 and relies on GPS. Can you let me know what? Can you let me know what that is, Paul Sullivan? Can you let me know what that is, or direct me to something online that I can look at? Because I don't know what you're referring to, but I will share that with everyone. KK is saying Iran thinks they can threaten countries helping Israel in their defense of incoming attacks. That's why NATOs are moving into action. Look, guys, I don't think NATO is going to get involved in this. There's no reason for NATO to get involved in this, guys. NATO are not going to get involved. This is going to be a US-led project. US and Israel are going to be, US and Israel are going to be doing dilly-swizzling in that region, and they don't need anyone else. They don't, like realistically, what are the British going to do? Are we going to send our 3 aircraft, our three Typhoons over there, and we're helping? It's kind of like, you know, when you're in a rush, right? You know, when you're in a rush and you've got a toddler, and the toddler's trying to help, but they're just getting in your way, and you have to tell them to go and sit down, and you say, look, if you want to go and help, go and sit down there and don't help, right? That is helping. That's kind of like the analogy of anybody else trying to help the United States, guys. It is. Like, remember, the United States have all the toys. Nobody can match the US for military. It's just not even on the cards. KK is saying you're always right about Fridays. Yeah, guys, listen, it always happens on a Friday because people make a ton of money. Things are easier to push through on, things are easier to push through things are easier to push through on a Friday. People are skiving work. People want to get off home early on a Friday. In the Muslim world, the Friday is a big day off. The stock market closes on a Friday. There are so many markers as to why things happen on a Friday. Oh, thank you, Ellis on YouTube for subscribing. And then KK over on YouTube is saying this is just the start of it with the Straits. They will close it eventually. Yeah, it will. Guys, look, I believe that the Strait of Hormuz at some point very soon is going to be closed. I can't see how or why the Iranians would keep that open, guys. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense for the Iranians to keep that open. Debbie. Tyler Evans is saying, any thoughts on the comments about Labour MP for Telford from Badenoch regarding the grooming gangs? Guys, look, the situation with this grooming gangs, okay, it's going to go absolutely bonk. This is going to be more fuel for the summer of carnage that's coming this year. Because when all this information gets out, and like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, you can't hide information anymore. It will always come out at some point. All information will come out. So when in fact, let me get this video up, guys. Give me a second. Where have I put it? Just give me a second, guys. Let me get this video up. That one. Oh no, it's where am I looking? Here we are. Let me just get this video up. This is guys, this video is gonna send your it's gonna chill people's bones, this, guys. Is it this one? It's from the lady who wrote the Casey report. Not that one. Is it this one? Guys, I'm just trying to get a video up here. It's from the lady, I forget her first name, Dame, whatever her name is, Casey, who did the grooming gangs report. And some of the things that she says in this report, guys, it's gonna chill you to the bones. It's gonna chill you to the bones. So let me just read let me just read this quickly, guys, okay? UK grooming gangs thrived in culture of ignorance, Casey report says. Public inquiry will examine repeated failures to prevent abuse against children being properly investigated. Like, who doesn't? Like, who doesn't investigate that fully? Like, who doesn't investigate that fully, guys? Like, at what point are you there, like, in that office, and you're like, crimes against children of these natures? Oh, let's put that on a back burner. We've got to empty the bins. Like, what person doesn't say, let's slip the dogs of war and we do all full effort on this? Right, guys, they've jumped up. Hang on. Right, guys, listen. I'm gonna play you a short video now. This is from what's her name, Baroness Casey, and she's talking now about some of the findings she found with regards to the grooming gangs. It's a short video, guys, but I can guarantee this is gonna chill your bones.
I think that there has been a tendency for people who've been worried about the story to have been labelled as racist. Yes, I mean, I found it in Rotherham. It was one of those moments in life where I was following through on a children's file, an archive child, and found the word Pakistani typed out.
Does that not chill you, guys? Does that not absolutely chill your bones? Look, guys, I grew up in Rotherham in the 90s, all right? I know exactly what was happening in Rotherham in the 90s. It absolutely drives me bonkers, guys, okay? So in these reports from Rotherham, and remember what I said yesterday about what I said about, you know, the girl who's aged 10 years old, guys, a girl aged 10 was classed as a courtesan, Guys, look, we've got girls aged 11 and 12. I mean, they still have Barbie on their, they still have Barbie bedding. You know, they play, you know, they do Barbie role play in the, you know, in the spare room, and they're talking with dolls. That's what they're doing at 10 o'clock, guys, at 10 years old, guys, all right? And to say that these girls aged 10 were, I'm using the word courtesan, the word that they used in the mainstream media was different. It sends me, guys, it triggers me. And yesterday we was talking about this, and I said, at what point does that woman or whoever wrote that report, and she writes it down, you know, that she wrote that down, and she said, oh, yeah, they're aged 10. They're aged 10. They, yeah, that's what she is. Yeah, age 10. At what point does she not think the legal age of consent in the United Kingdom is 16? Maybe she didn't know that. I don't know. But remember, this is reports from social services. Those people who take our tax money and are pretending to protect our children. I want a refund. And the council tax is going up. And our council tax is going up to pay these people. Do you see the absurdity, guys? And I said, at what point do these things not get an audit whereby their line manager will look at that and say, Sharon or Karen or I don't know, whatever their name is, closing love. Yeah, on this report here, you've got you've said this girl here's aged 10 and you've got her down labeled as that. Is that a typo? No, she's 10, yeah. Okay, Sharon, just quickly, I know you've done all your diversity training. I know you've done your equality training. Can you just have a look here, love? Because at age 16 in the United Kingdom, that's the age for consent. Anything under that, it begins with an R and ends in PE. So at what point did that woman continue her job? At what point did this not get audited? Now, this may be adding a shred of light to what's actually been happening. So this lady here, Baroness Casey, when she was reading through the reports, she found, and these are her own words, guys, the word when it was. Do you know what, guys? I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to let you guys listen again. So listen again, guys, to what was happening to these reports.
I think that there has been a tendency for people who've been worried about the story to have been labelled as racist. Yes, I mean, I found it in Rotherham. It was one of those moments in life where I was following through on a children's file, an archive child, and and found the word Pakistani typexed out.
So this woman now, she's looking through the archive reports of child abuse. She's reading through these archive reports, and she finds a word typexed out, and the word is Pakistani. So somebody's gone through that file and removed the word Pakistani.
And I thought, whoever did that inadvertently was giving ammunition to the English Defence League that were every week in and out campaigning and doing their stuff in that town. I think the problem is that people are worried about being called racist. In a way, they just give more ammunition to. If good people don't grasp difficult things, bad people will.
Guys, I couldn't have said that better. If good people don't grasp the reality of this situation, like what is coming now, guys, I don't think we can stop what's coming. I think the fire is I think the blaze is too the blaze is too high, guys. Listen, if you've got children, or if you were a child, or if maybe yourself at one point in your life have been 10 years old, maybe at one point in your life you have been 10 years old. I don't know. Maybe you skipped 10 years old. Can you imagine what that poor girl's gone through? It's absolutely unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. I'm gonna show you guys a video now from this is from Suella Braverman. This is like, I think this is like late last year, guys. I'm just gonna play this. I'm gonna play this and let you guys. I mean, this has aged very well. There are good people out there, guys. There are good people out there trying to help. There are good people out there. But the problem is people have cognitive dissonance. They say, oh, no, that can't be happening in my community. And people shy away from this. Guys, this is Suella Braverman. So, protect Suella Braverman at all costs.
Is a practice.
Sorry, so this was when she was Home Secretary, guys. This is an interview on Sky News.
This whereby vulnerable white English girls, sometimes in care, sometimes who are in challenging circumstances, being pursued and raped and drugged and harmed by gangs of British Pakistani men who've worked in child abuse rings or networks. We've seen institutions and state agencies, whether it's social workers, teachers, the police, turn a blind eye to these signs of abuse out of political correctness, out of fear of being called racist, out of fear of being called bigoted. And as a result, thousands, we're not talking small numbers, we're talking large numbers, thousands of children have had their childhoods robbed and devastated.
So there we are, guys. That is Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary. She was ostracized. She was ousted. There we go, guys. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, people keep asking me, Sean, what's going to be the conflict zones? Where are these conflicts going? There are conflicts all over, guys, and be under no illusion, the United Kingdom, mainland United Kingdom, is absolutely rife right now, guys. It's absolutely rife. Absolutely rife. There is so much tension in the United Kingdom right now, guys. This summer is going to be absolutely wild. You could see, and again, when I talk about the summer of carnage coming to the streets of the United Kingdom, scroll back through my videos. I was talking about this last year. I've got the orange shirt on. It's just straight after the Rotherham riots. And I'm saying, look, guys, next year, this is going to be worse. I didn't realize just how bad it's actually going to be this year. It's going to be bonkers, guys. Listen, remember, okay? Remember what I always say: hibernate, relocate, evacuate. Those are the three things you guys need to understand. Right, let me jump up and get some comments. There's loads of comments just jumped up on TikTok. Right, guys, listen, I'm going to get to the end of these comments on TikTok. I'm then going to go and deal with you comments on YouTube next. I'm going to go and read the comments on YouTube afterwards. I'll be on YouTube for a little bit longer, answering a few more questions. But let me get these comments on TikTok first. Keyring is saying, same, believe in Santa. Santa's real. Like, who's like, Santa is real, and if you don't believe in him, then you're not believing in Father Christmas is believing in Father Christmas is a trope of the right wing. That's what it'll be next, won't it? That's what it'll be next. That's what it'll be next. Right, Debbie Doobs is saying it's still happening. It's been going on a lot longer than reported. I was raised my area in Rotherham, in an area of Rotherham, biggest Pakistani community, says Debbie Doobs. Coral reefing, also, most of the incidents were recorded. Yeah. So, as I understand it, 75% of ethnicities weren't recorded in these cases, so we don't actually know what the scenario is. But guys, look, Coral Reefing saying it there, redacting vital information. So we heard it then from literally the horse's mouth who wrote the Casey report. Sean, did you see my post on Jess Phillips? No, I didn't. But there's something about Jess Phillips. When I look at her, I'm not filled with hope. EG News is saying TR needs an apology over this. Gemini Blessing saying, listen, guys, time is a great vindicator. Time is a great vindicator. Time vindicates everything. I emailed my MP who voted against having another inquiry. What do we think those emails do, guys? Do you think they're sent? I would speculate that all these emails are just sent into, like, they go to an empty tray and people don't even respond to them. I'm going to hibernate on my small farm in Cornwall, says RB Jr. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I have come to the end on TikTok. I'm going to be over on YouTube now. If you're on and you've not done so already, guys, can you please... Jess Phillips was on her phone laughing. I don't know what that's in response to, Gemini Blessing. Gemini Blessing, quickly on TikTok, can you let me know what that is in response to, what she was laughing about on the phone? But listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are on now and you've not done so, please hit the follow button, the subscribe button, the like button. I'm going to be going over now to YouTube and answering the rest of the questions on YouTube for a little bit. We can talk a little bit more openly and a little bit more freely on YouTube. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope, hang on. So Gemini Blessing here is saying that when the inquiry was being read out, Jess was on the phone laughing at messages. Yeah, I mean, that, guys, look, we can all see what's coming. I came across a word yesterday. And the word is vengeance. Now, the word vengeance is it's a mix of a Latin word and a French word, vindicate and avenge. I think the word vengeance is going to be very relevant this winter. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close TikTok down now. I am going to be over on YouTube for a little bit talking to those guys, and I'll see you guys hopefully at 8 o'clock tonight. And I think we're off. We might be off. We might not be off. Are we off on YouTube? No, we're still on. We're still on. We're off now. I think we're off now. I hope we're off now. Right, listen, guys, you guys on YouTube, can you let me know what the sound quality is like? A few people in the chat have said the sound quality is not great. Let me know what the sound quality is like, and I'll try and get a microphone. The problem is, if I get microphones when I'm double streaming, I have to get like multiple microphones. But if the sound quality is unbearable, then of course, I will sort that out. Thank you all for jumping over, guys. Thank you all for jumping over. If you could like and subscribe and do all those things that help this channel grow, the buttons down below, the bell notification, all those fantastic things as we move closer, literally by the day, into the summer of carnage, where the United Kingdom, I believe, is going to be absolutely torn apart by civil unrest. We are going to see scenes of police retreating. We are going to see very, very, very ugly scenes. But remember what JFK said: when you make peaceful revolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. I didn't say that, guys. I'm just repeating what somebody else has said. Anyway, alas. Yeah, look, guys, Paul Sullivan here. Fantastic question. Fantastic. Reform wanted an American judge to take over the inquiry. like I said long ago, I said somebody from outside this country needs to take over this inquiry. What I think will happen with this inquiry in the United Kingdom is absolutely nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. I think, oh, hang on. Hang on, guys. This may be relevant to us. No, that's not relevant. Right, I've got him. I may have something relevant, but I have to phone him up, and I can't do that while I'm on the phone to you guys. But yeah, I do think that is a good move from. I do think that anybody that comes to the United Kingdom, a judge, a lord, a peer, anybody that comes to the United Kingdom, sorry, anybody already in the United Kingdom, they're going to be tainted with this at some point, because if this thing, which I have my suspicions, if this thing goes half as deep as I think it goes, it could bring down the country. It could literally bring down the country, guys. And nobody is going to want to bring down their own country. Nobody's going to want to bite the hand that feeds them. But you know, if, like, I don't know, let's just say, for example, Elon Musk came over, and I know he'd do a good job because of his, I know he'd do a good job. It's like that Elon Musk came over and he did this job. Like, can you imagine the findings that they would find? Because he's got no skin in the game. Some, some lord or peer comes over and says, Elon, well, you won't get your pension if you write this. And all these people who've hid things and uncovered things up, like, all those people would be exposed. But I think anybody, like whoever runs this, guys, needs to have credibility. They need to have credibility, and they need to give the people what they want. People want to know is, like we said earlier, a girl at 10, and I can say it now, a girl at 10 labeled a prostitute. Come on, guys, come on. Like, at 10-year-old, you are not, guys, honestly, it shakes me to the core. It shakes me to the core. Right, so KK saying it looks like they're announcing an inquiry into the grooming gangs to prevent causes for civil unrest over it, but they'll drag the inquiry. Yeah, exactly. They'll drag it on, and it's never going to happen. Look, I think people are seeing straight through these now. I think people are seeing straight through these backsliding things. Question: if I can get that info, so can Iran? Question: if I can get that info, so can Iran. They know full well, yes, okay, they know full well America, yeah, okay, yeah. Look, so like in the United Kingdom, military bases, the infrastructure, sabotage, if I know this is coming, then I can pretty much guarantee near-peer adversaries do as well. Mr. KK Kemi was had it for years. She was responsible. Look, guys, this is what I've said. This is what I've said. Look, guys, when I'm talking about politics and Westminster and the government, I was a potential candidate for reform in the last election. When I understood how politics works, I wanted no part of it. I don't want to be part of that sinking ship, guys. I didn't want to be part of that. I do have a conscience. I didn't want to be part of that. And I've said this all along, it's the whole system. So, but now you're seeing people who are jumping on the zeitgeist saying, oh yeah, I wanted an inquiry. I wanted an inquiry. I don't believe any of them, guys. I don't believe anything. I don't believe there will be any meaningful change unless there is a total reform of the political system in the United Kingdom. And by a total reform, I mean a whole new, from the ground, building a new system from the ground up. Because what we've got, guys, there's too much rot, there's too much decay, and I just don't see any. I just don't trust any of these people. Yes, there are good people. I agree, there are good people, but they're surrounded by so many bad people. If they try to do good and they're overtly doing good, they just get cut down, and that's the reality. KK saying it's chilling, not only about fear of racism, it's outright misogyny as well. Female professionals not challenging male superiors on the matter. I don't think that's indicative of misogyny. I think that happens anywhere. I mean, you know, I've worked for women before, and if like your boss says, "No, Sean, that's not how you're doing it. This is how you're doing it." I'm like, yeah, right, okay, that's how I'm doing it. So, you know, I do think it's, but again, that may be the synonymousism, and if that's not a word it should be. I'm a fully qualified English gentleman. It's my birthright to make words up. But if that is perceived because men are predominantly higher in these professions, then that may be the case. Paul Sullivan is saying, can we change the subject? I have 2 girls myself, 1 7 and 1 11. Look, you know, I'd love to change this subject. I'd love to bury my head in the sand. But if we keep burying our heads in the sand, and pretending that this is not happening, pretending this is not happening in our communities, pretending this is not happening on our doorsteps, you know, these things are going to happen more. So I have children, you know, 11 and 12, and, you know, people have buried their heads in the sand too long. Right, Witchy Labs jumped over. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Lots of people jumping over from TikTok. We need misogyny laws for systematic change. Do we need misogyny laws? I don't. Okay, what do we define as misogyny? What do we define as misogyny? Let me know what we define as misogyny. Right, Paul Sullivan saying, I'm off, but I'll say this, no bunker can penetrate a mountain, and then the base underneath, look at America's nuke command, impossible. Yeah, I think we're talking about there what the Iranians will have done with their any of their missiles and stuff. Paul Sullivan saying, Sean, you should lead them, you are great. The problem is, I got asked if I wanted to be involved in an international team in Ukraine investigating war crimes, particularly in Bucha, Irpin and Borodyanka. Now, some of the things I can't talk about because I can't talk about, but some of the things that I witnessed and some of the people I've spoken to, it makes you question. Like when you understand how much pain and suffering a person can inflict on another person for nothing, it makes you question your whole reality. A good friend of mine, Chris, I was talking to him about it. I said, "Listen, Chris, I think I'm gonna go onto this international team." I mean, the money was phenomenal. And he said, "Look, Sean, I was on a similar project. I'm not going to tell the other country. I was on a similar project. I wish I hadn't have done it, because when you get deep and dark down these rabbit holes, you understand things and you see things that you just wish you hadn't." So, you know, in that context, you know, ignorance is bliss. Lisa Jane is saying, one lady who was... Yeah, guys, look, it's absolutely insane what's been happening in our country. Oh, and Paul O'Sullivan is saying, listen, Paul O'Sullivan is there. He's saying, my kids were next to me. Guys, it's horrible, isn't it? You know, like it's horrible because you want your kids to be safe, but you don't want them to be scared. So, like, how do you approach this subject with your kids? If you want them to be safe, you don't want them to be scared. Listen, it's a brave new world, and we are heading for absolute wild time. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm going to be on later on today. I'm going to be on later on today, 8 o'clock. I'm going to be on later on today at 8 o'clock. I hope tomorrow morning I won't be on, guys. Thank you all you guys for jumping over. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe, all that stuff. Guys, listen, it is absolutely bonkers what's happening in the world. The conflict areas right now, we've got the Middle East, we've got Iran, Israel, we've got potential stuff brewing in the Strait of Hormuz, like I said it would. The United States moving air assets, naval assets, a potential false flag. The United States, Donald Trump saying, I'm planning something bigger than a ceasefire. Well, I don't know what that is. We have got the hostilities still between Pakistan and India. The conflict in Ukraine is still raging. And the United Kingdom looks like we could break out into civil war any day. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back on at 8. I'll be uploading videos through the day. I'll see you guys later. And thank you as well. Thank you for being with me.